like a great guy, right? We're back on the Morning Brew with Friends with Dara, and we're talking about our favorite designers.
Yes.
Talking about Tom Ford, who I got to meet a few years ago, and he's just like the coolest guy, except he unbuttons his shirt to like here, and he just hangs out with man chest hanging out when you're talking to him. It's crazy. But he's like the coolest guy.
That's
and then
awesome.
you got to see Diane von
Furstenberg,
do like kind of the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
You know?
when you're that comfortable in yourself, it's kind of cool to see. You're just like in awe of that.
And these are the kinds of things you're going to have to kind of wrap your head around if you make it into the Project Runway. Because you just submitted your application for this, right?
Yeah, Monday night, like 25 minutes before the deadline.
And what did you do for that? I love this.
So I had to create a video and talk about, of course, why I wanted to be on Project Runway, my background, what
as a local designer, as a local boutique owner, as a local
yeah,
seamstress.
Exactly. Yeah. And then submit portfolio photographs, and then a slew of questions on the application. I thought I wasn't going to make the deadline because of the number of questions. I mean,
what do they even ask for
everything
a reality
from
show like that?
Health to, of course, have you ever had a restraining order against you? Which was very interesting.
Because if it's yes, then you're on the reality TV show, right?
They want to bring you in for sure.
This person is full of drama. Check.
Your design aesthetic, if you went to school, if you're selling anywhere, I mean, just all kinds of. What would your friends say about, what are your good traits? What are your bad traits?
That's fun.
So interesting, yeah. It was totally worth it just to fill out the application.
What did you learn about yourself?
Yeah, that I really, before that, I hadn't really put a whole lot of thought into, like, being on television. They asked, have you ever applied for anything before? If so, how many times? I was like, really? No.
And here's your video, I think.
Yeah. So Jesse Darling did it for me. He did an amazing job.
He's great.
Yeah.
And this is very Tom Ford-esque, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I dig it. There you are.
There I am, yeah.
And this is your shop.
Yeah.
This is Runway Apparel.
Yes.
And you sell things and you make things there.
Yeah. I haven't sold anything I've made there. Everything I've made it custom for friends and for myself. So I made my dress for Women of Influence. So, and that's showing the process of the material that I used for it.
That's very cool. So how long have you been actually designing your own clothing?
So I started when I was in middle school. With perfect timing.
Oh, great throwback Thursday there, yes.
Perfect timing. And then, this summer I went to 1 Million Cups. And did a presentation of my vision for Albuquerque in fashion, and was like, I need to go back to designing if I want to create a space for other designers. So started this summer, and I've been doing it ever since.
I love it. Well, I took actually a fashion design class at Albuquerque High. They actually offered that.
See, I tried at Del Norte, and every time I signed up, it got canceled. It was such a bummer. That's why I didn't go down that path. I know.
I actually learned how to pattern draft.
Yeah.
And it was like it was fun. I could probably still thread a serger if I had to, but it might take me a minute.
Oh.
But that whole process of going in and out through the whole serger system. But I think things like that, skills like that, are just amazing.
Yeah.
And are you mainly self-taught then, or did you have take classes?
My grandmother.
Excellent.
I sat with her when I was in middle school and really learned how to sew. And then it's kind of like riding a bicycle. You have to get back on and like relearn it. So I go to my grandmother's house, and she really helps me through that whole process. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, tell me about Runway Apparel, because I know you've had the store now for a few years.
Yes, yeah.
And you sell fashion clothing, men's clothing, women's clothing.
Exactly. So it's small boutique. Our tagline is exclusive, not expensive. So when I'm going to markets, I'm looking at what's going to be unique, what have I seen at New York Fashion Week that I can replicate at an affordable price. And typically bring in 3 to 6 pieces of any given item. So that way when you're out in the community, you're not wearing the same thing as everybody else. And keep our price points really low. I think the misconception about boutiques is they're so expensive that you can't afford to shop there, and so you go to Loft or you go to Gap. Right. And that's not the case.
I'll just go to the mall.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, go to Ross Dress for Less.
I know. No, come visit me.
Well, we have some photos, because one of the dresses you designed.
Yes.
You wore to the big Women of Influence event.
I did.
And that was the Albuquerque Business First big. Basically, we celebrated women and all the entrepreneurs in town. Women like you and a lot of our friends, actually, from the entrepreneurial world were there. And here's some photos from it. And you actually made your gown.
I did, yeah.
And it was a hit.
It was. I was so excited because I think, I've learned every dress I make I love, but then the next one I love more. And I absolutely loved the dress I made for Women of Influence. It's very simple. I probably was a little overdressed, but that's okay.
It's always better to be overdressed than underdressed dress. I'm always like, I'd rather have the tie and the scarf and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and then people expect that of me. So there's my dress. So it was a halter dress, floor length, very simplistic. The colors were perfect. And this was actually the first time that I finished it, with time to spare. I actually finished it 2 nights before. The other events, like I went to the governor's inaugural ball, and the red and turquoise dress that's being shown, I finished like a half an hour before I had to be at the convention center. So this dress right here,
it is there.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, and that's a thing. That's a skill you got to learn if you're going to be doing the TV show.
Yes.
Because how do you, as a designer, finish something like that?
Exactly.
Do you just tack stitch everything and go? Or
I'm like hand stitching along the way,
in the car.
I've done that before. Like I made a dress for a friend for Concours du Soleil, and I was like, we need to sew this, and so we were in the bathroom right before we left just to tighten it up. And so that's something I included in my video. It's like I've already done a few things that are very Project Runway-esque that I totally could do in a timeline. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I love this too. You're an entrepreneur. You started the store. How long ago?
I actually came involved with Runway Apparel September 2013.
So it's been a minute now.
Yeah.
And it's you've kind of involved yourself in the local entrepreneurial scene. And I love this because it was the winner of which contest, Scott?
It was
Scrappy
Athena.
Startup?
It was Scrappy Startup. Yes, Scrappy Startup. Yeah.
And Athena Christodoulou.
Yes.
And she has a new app out.
And I'm talking to her about it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what I love about this is that there was a Scrappy Startups competition. It was for local startups. And basically there was about a dozen entrants, I think. And the winner didn't just win time at Fat Pipe. They didn't just win some other prizes. They won a wardrobe from you guys at Runway Apparel.
Yeah.
How'd you get wrapped up in that? I love that story.
It was, my involvement with 1 Million Cups in
which starts in about an hour and a half, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll be there a little bit later this morning. Talking about how that community, I learned so much and I gained so much and I met so many amazing people from that I told Eric, I want to provide some way that I can give back. And so if it's, creating your own personal brand, because as a startup and entrepreneur, you're really, not thinking about, okay, what message am I trying to convey? You're trying to sell your product, and that should all tie together. Right. And so I've helped with that. I've helped with Hopepreneurs. I've helped with the team that went out to South by Southwest.
There's 9 of them that went out there from Albuquerque.
Yeah.
So. Well, I think one of the things too with when you're in business and you're trying to present yourself well, if you have a nice outfit, it kind of removes that one last decision you have to make in the morning.
Exactly.
If you can set it out and you're going to look good, you don't have to worry about it. And it's like if you have a meeting, a sales call, whatever. You don't have to worry about looking sloppy. You don't have to worry about anything. You're already set.
Yeah. And getting a little bit away from the graphic tee.
Yes.
Because a lot of startups are like, well, I want to wear my brand, and it's like, you don't have to wear that all the time. People will know you because of what you have to offer. You don't have to wear it on your chest.
Right. So. I see a lot of people who start up a company, tech companies, hot rod companies, you name it, and it's just like their uniform becomes their brand shirt. And you're like, where's something else?
Yeah. I do on Mondays. I have a Men Only Monday email blast that goes out, and so I get
Put me on
style
that
questions.
list. I'm not on that list. Put me on that list.
I will. And somebody asked me about that. I'm meeting with investors and meeting with the community. What can I do besides wear my graphic tee? And it was like,
and you don't always have to wear the shirt and tie.
Exactly.
What's the good middle ground?
Yeah. So for what I told them was like a blazer, and then wear a hoodie underneath it. So it's that kind of fashion forward, and you feel comfortable because you're in that techie kind of world.
Right.
Wear something like that. Layer t-shirt. Jeans. Nice pair. Invest in a good fitting, nice pair of jeans.
That's always hard to find.
Yeah.
It's harder. People don't realize how hard it is for even dudes to find good fitting jeans. It's you end up with the too skinny jeans or the baggy jeans, and you feel like you should have a hammer on the side of them sometimes, or just going to the club on a Friday night when you're just trying to wear some nice fitting jeans.
Or the wash is totally wrong. You're like, oh, that's so 2002.
Right. That's
put a dark wash on, and it looks a lot nicer.
Yeah, absolutely. So when do you find out if you are going to be on the TV show?
March 27th, and then if I do make it into the next round, I have to pay for travel to a city of my choice. So it said on the application, it said, "What's the closest city to you?" And of course, I picked New York City.
That's it. It's excellent. Perfect. I can fly there. We'll figure out a way nonstop from Albuquerque. We'll get there.
JetBlue.
Awesome. We'll be back in a couple of seconds. I think we got our friends here from Las Megananas who are going to give us a little performance of their new play that they wrote, Chupacabra Cantina, on the Morning Brew with Friends.